order. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
We do.
Good to hear from you with your new haircut.
Thank you.
Okay, any members speaking, Cezanne? Cezanne, you're muted.
There was that letter from Lisa Lockemer. She wanted that read at a meeting.
You have that, Mr. Goodrow. Lanny sent it previously.
I do not have it. I mean, I have it, but I don't have it ready for this meeting. Did she send it also to you, Mark?
Mark, you're muted.
Everybody got a copy.
Or would it be under?
It came from you, right, Lanny?
It came from Lisa, I think.
But then to you? No?
I thought she sent it directly, but I'm not sure. I'm looking for it.
Was it the cane toad thing?
No.
Oh, that's the one I thought.
Oh, it was about.
I've got it. Do you want me to read it?
Yes,
I have it.
please.
Do you want me to read it?
Please.
Okay. Oh, wait. Is this the one? Okay. For the some of its landscaping stuff. My hope through this email is to convey that most homeowners here that I know really, really would like to see a change in the attitude, especially in this very trying economic time, that we want to stop spending money. We really don't have to add more and more to everything right now. We're doing expensive projects already, but we cannot put more projects, but can we not put more projects on the books right now? Can we put a moratorium on spending for a year or two, please? Every home condo is in here was sold less than 6 months ago, and Southern Florida is in huge demand. This community is not Bonita Bay, but some on the board are spending homeowners' money like they want it to be. Please forward my words and those of many concerned homeowners to the board and read them my email. I would like our community to become more unified and less stressed. We all have things that are dear to us. I do not have a pet, but people I know with dogs and without have seen the K-toads overrunning our neighborhood and are very concerned about this subject. We've sent information to Mark, and he was gracious enough to forward it. At this point, I realistically retract my request for attention to the board, because how can I ask for something that will cost more money when most of us are already asking for this community to stop spending homeowner money? Could this board please look at the big picture now and just reevaluate that this country and all of its people are in a very tenuous economic state with very troublesome forecast? Could we just sit tight, do the prudent thing, and not spend money? This includes all of the multi-layers of spending that is slated in the landscaping committee. Bromeliads are beautiful, but extremely expensive. We do not need to plant more plants in every inch of sterling oaks. Can we just pause everything right now? Are we not supposed to minimize water usage, fertilizer, landscape trimming, and increase maintenance and activity costs now and for the future? We're overdoing it in every venue. I call on the president, treasurer, and board members, please be good leaders in a very tough time. Please help your community get through this economic crisis and be prudent and conservative in your spending. Thank you sincerely, Lisa Lockemer and many residents of Sterling Oaks.
We thank Lisa for her letter. And I will comment that I think you all are good leaders. So let's move along to Secretary's report.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the May 26, 2022 board meeting.
Do I have a second? Michael? All approve, indicate by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Let's go to, there is no president's report. Let's go to manager's report.
Everybody can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Well, you all have my report, so this is more for the, I guess, the people on YouTube who will see it in the minutes at some point in time. Wildcat, Deer Creek, and Preserve monuments are still at permitting in Collier County. Collier County is woefully slow in responding to almost any request for permits. It used to be somewhere they would respond within 30 days. Now it's around 60 to 90 days. So either way, I've been assured that those should be taken care of by the end of summer. We're waiting on the last of the stack stone to finish one portion of the outside column on the left-hand side of the entrance monument as you enter. That's also going to be, I'm sure, finished here shortly. I talked to Russ Geiger on irrigation. He is going to be working on the phase 2, looking at making sure that the plan is up and solid. I talked to him about a possibility of rerouting water from pump 1, which uses Wildcat Lake as a water source, as well as the small lake where the pump is located behind the coach homes and on the entrance to Wildcat. About would that provide us a higher volume of water to be able to include to Deer Creek and to Sanctuary. So I've got him looking at that from a hydrological standpoint of use. It may assist us in those endeavors. We discussed at the executive committee that the recharge wells, which are located at pump 1 and 2, both have not been used in 10 years. We've kind of took the guts and the casing and the hood and all of that out of pump 1 area to utilize for the sports well behind the cabana for the tennis courts. So to replace that would be about $26,000 at pump 1, and to fix the one that's working but needs all new parts, pieces, and controls at pump 2 down by Willow Bend is another $16,000. So the EC said, you know, why don't we wait and see how things go? We haven't needed them till this point. Why don't we go ahead and hang tough? And if the irrigation project moves forward, the cost of redoing those 2 stations and getting them up to speed would be a part of the actual overall project. Tennis light poles. I don't know who's here. Lanny, you've probably been out there. The light
Mark, before you get into that, let's let the record show that John Meehoke joined us, and at what time stays on. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Hi, John. You're muted. Tennis light poles are moving along very well. Alan's crew. Alan's away on vacation right now with his wife, which is the first time I actually think he's actually left the state and actually gone somewhere. He's gone up to Virginia to visit his family. We're all very happy for him. I think it was a good time. He finally has somebody here that he feels comfortable in leaving the place with. His name is Randy, and Randy White is the guy that is not the author of all the books on Sanibel. He is but he has been in the business down here for quite some time and understands a lot of the pieces, parts, and all of the moving areas that we have for maintenance. He's an approachable and a good man. He's been doing a great job in Alan's absence and actually has gotten quite a bit done. I think Court 1 light poles are almost up and ready to go. We know that he's going to be working on 2 and 3 to finish those. The company that's doing the resurfacing for courts 11, 12, and 2 and 3 is here on property now. So we're making sure that we can get those courts resurfaced, and then we can move to 2 and 3, get those done and open those so that there's places for people to play before they move to 6 and 7. And once they get done with 6 and 7, all the light poles will be done. Onto the pool resurfacing. And this is going to take something that I think we ought to discuss this a little later on after we get to that point in the new business. I can only tell you that I've gotten 3 quotes, as you've seen on your packet. Rockstar Pools has been the most active. Actually, they came in today to give me samples of the tiles that they'll be using to replace like and same of the ones around the edges and on the bottom of the pool. The pool finish, which has to be a white or silver, because that's what the state requires so that you can see to the bottom of the pool the best. So they have got all that. There has been some questions from board members and from other people about the pool and its scope, but I'd like to talk about that at a different time rather than utilizing this time right now. Either way, if we decide to do something to the pool this year, it's going to take about 30 days. And if we could close it down at the end of August, it would be open by October, which would be just in time for season. So that would be good for us all.
Before we leave that topic, I know I had a discussion with Linda yesterday about this, and she wants some time to address the board. So I don't know if this is the time or later on in the agenda.
I think later on when we get to that actual
Okay,
topic.
fine. So carry on, Mark.
All right. Lastly, on my manager's report is Blue Stream. So Blue Stream has given us a lot of information. We've sent out the registration packets to everybody. We have 10 or 12 individuals who have volunteered to be guinea pigs to have their place lit up this week to, I guess, to be test beta subjects on how did the install go? How did everything run? Is it working? Is it something that I like? You know, etc. So Len Falco was the first, and he had a little bit of a difficult time, but finally got everything straightened out, and he's very happy. John Dumas was second, and he said, I didn't have any problems, and I'm happy. I just need to know what phone number I'm supposed to call in case something happens. Then it went on, and we've had some other issues where people never got called back. Even Eric Frankel, who was supposed to get hooked up, the wrong people showed up. They didn't know what he was supposed to get. So there were some issues there. We've had some other registration issues with people who have registered, said that they were supposed to get a call back at between 9 and 10:30, never have gotten a call. So Eric and I have been on the phone with Joe Canavan, who is the president of Blue Stream, to see if we can make sure that they have their act together. We are in constant contact with our team. We have a team that is specific to our install. It's a whole group of individuals, and we're working through that. So I think that there's some kinks. I think that they are trying to move quickly. My fear is that Blue Stream is growing exponentially. They have put in conduit and are doing all of the brooks, Kingsway, Heritage Palms, Charlotte, a bunch up in Charlotte, Pembroke Pines, all the way over in the on the other side in 5,000 people over in the plantation area of outside Miami. So they're moving quickly, and they are getting a lot of new customer base, but at that same time, I think that stretches their existing infrastructure very thin. We do have a good contract, and we have a good lawyer. So if anything goes down, we will go after them to make sure that we hold their feet to the fire.
Well, Mark, maybe Eric Frankel and his committee should be in touch with those people at the Brooks and the others locally to form a little consortium to ride herd over Blue Stream. And if they know that, it could affect a little more pressure on them.
Yes,
to our advantage. So maybe you could mention that to Eric and his crew.
I will. One bright point is that Mike Aquilino, Margaret Galupo's other half, as you all know, was installed yesterday, and with glowing remarks. So out of the one person that we would have expected maybe a little bit of squeaking, all we got was thumbs up, and we're told that everything went swimmingly, and that thank you so much, and they're very happy. So we're look forward to things moving forward in a fairly timely and accurate manner. We're asking them to be a little more succinct in their information, because if you read their registration flyer that went out to you all, it says register for an install, but then later on in that packet, it kind of says, and we will call you for a consultation. So I don't know whether or not the consultation is pre-install or if people are waiting for the install. That there's a question with that. So we're trying to get that figured out and how to make sure that everybody understands what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and in fairness to them, let's realize this is a beta test, and it may not be on everyone's radar there either. So let's give them a little slack in this. Lenny.
I just wanted to share the experience that I had yesterday. I had the initial call is just the consultation to get registered. Mine came an hour and a half after my appointment time, so that is definitely a problem. The gentleman on the phone had no idea why he was calling me. So anyone who expects the other end to know what's going on, it's just going into a main number. He can look up and figure out what's going on. They did some bait and switch with me in pricing. First of all, I was exploring adding my VoIP phone line. I was initially told it was $10 a month. When he gave me my total, it was quite a bit more than I expected. And he said, oh, well, no, I was wrong. It's not $10, it's $28 a month. They also are asking for $7 a month for a home protection plan, which will cover your equipment if somebody drops it or spills coffee on it, and waives the $99 service visit charge. And it's not clear while we're still getting set up whether they're going to be charging $99 if they need to come. So that certainly needs to get sorted out. But I was not pleased with the the bait and switch in particular.
Right.
Okay, carry on, Mark.
That's it for my report. At this point in time, the only other things that I'm working on, trying to get information on, is updates from Jeff Nunner on his work that he's doing in the boardwalk, just to get preliminary action started on that, probably with no outlay of cash from us. And also, I think that's about it on him. So I'm waiting on his return. I think he's away right now on vacation. And that's about it. Lanny?
I just had another comment about going back to the irrigation. you mentioned that you felt that there was no need for the recharge wells now. I think that all the residents around Pond 5 would strongly disagree that there isn't a need now. So I'm not asking for any action now, but I think that that's a debatable statement as to whether we should look into fixing that before next dry season, because the inappropriate beach we have here that really that decreases home value.
Okay,
Do we have a cost to repair those two?
$16,000 for the one at pump 2, which is the Willow Bend Deer Creek Lake, and $26,000 to redo the one at pump 1.
Well, I'd like to keep this on our plate, and maybe we could do a little research and bring it up again next month so that we don't lose this. But it seems to me we put these pumps in place to begin with in the initial system for a purpose. And if they're not functioning now, why are they not functioning, and why, and should they be functioning, I guess is the question. So rather than ignore it, I think I'd like to keep it on our plate so we can take a look at this.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Alan, the only thing he said is that those recharge wells have been disabled and silent for the past 10 years.
Yeah, I understand that.
So,
But they were part of the initial system for a purpose.
correct. Yep.
So it seems to me that the system should be running smoothly as intended. And if it isn't, it's our job to figure out why and take care of it.
And shouldn't there be funds in the reserves to do so?
Not to that point in time. I think that the reserve funds only have specific for the pumps. They don't seem to cover the whole station, if you want to call it.
Maybe we should look into that
there's
next year when we look at the reserves, to get those
I think there's
included back in.
$21,000 in there, but because the recharge wells for the past 10 years have not been used, the recharge wells are not part of the reserve study.
Okay.
Because they've been
I think they
silent.
should be.
They, as far as I know, they were never in there even back in the day. So looking back to the original, when I got here, that was the Johnson Engineering report, and it didn't have anything in there. So I will include them in this year's study to make sure that we're up and running on all of that. Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it seems like we've forgotten about these wells along the way, and maybe it's contributed to this irrigation problem that we have. I don't know, but I don't think we should ignore it. I think we should study this a bit and keep it on our plates. Okay, let's move to Treasurer's report. John Mulligan, do you have some good news for us?
Yes, I think so. I sent it out to everyone last night. So I'll just go over some of the highlights. Our cash continues to be strong, which is great. The month of June, we had a favorable variance of budget of $41,000. Tennis continues to do very good, and that's mainly to do with the increased membership. Food and beverage continues to do good. And as I stated earlier, that's mainly due to increased participation at events, as well as increased number of outside events. Common area and G&A both continue to be close to budget. A lot of their ups and downs have to do with timing. Okay, the year-to-date net income as of 6/30/22 is $50,000 versus a budget of negative $18,000 for a favorable variance of $68,000. We're now midway through the year, and although we show that 68,000 variance to budget for 6 months, I do not expect that trend to continue. Meaning I do not expect that to be doubling, as the first 6 months. Not even close. I expect tenants to keep on being favorable to budget each month due to their increased membership, as I mentioned. The timing of expenses in the other areas will reduce the current trend. By the end of the year, I do expect this to be on budget or favorable to budget by the year end, but just not the current pace. The accounts of Fidelity have been open, and we invested in treasury bonds, and we're earning interest at a much higher rate than we were using our current bank accounts. Let me know if you have any questions.
Good report. Everyone should feel good about that. Particularly, Chap, go ahead.
Yeah, the EC meeting, which you unfortunately weren't able to attend, there was the question again about what's the penalty if we need the money from these CDs early?
The penalty would be, we'd have to sell a treasury bond. And depending on the current rate versus what we bought it at, we could possibly sell that bond at a loss, which would be minimal. You're talking maybe hundreds of dollars or maybe 1,000 or 2, depending on the rate. But if we had to sell one, depending on the rate, we could actually make more money on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the odds of us having to sell one hopefully are slim and none, given what our cash forecast has been. And, you know, we never should need money within 30 days. Everything is planned out. So I don't foresee that happening all. And if it did happen, it'd be minimal, if anything.
Well, that's satisfactory to me. I just
Okay.
wanted to follow up on the question that was asked at the EC meeting, correct, Paul?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have, a bond's gonna come due every 3 months. So if we can't manage our cash within those 3 months, then we have a different problem.
Yeah, good point.
Any
Okay.
other questions?
Any other questions of John?
I have one.
Go ahead, Lynn.
John, just for my own clarification, when you're talking about these 3 months, those are the same as the CD ladder. Is that what?
Yes. Yeah, we, at the current time, treasury bonds are actually earning more than CDs, which rarely ever happens. So instead of buying the CDs, we bought treasury bonds. So each of the treasury bonds are going to mature in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. So it's the same thing as a CD ladder. We just bought treasury bonds.
Oh, okay. So they're not really CDs, they're treasury bonds.
Yes, backed by the government.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all good news. Thank you, John.
You're
Let's
welcome.
go to committee reports and activities. Linda.
Okay. This May 30th, our Memorial Day barbecue at the pool. Nicole had 70 reservations for the barbecue, plus 15 walk-ins to enjoy the music and drinks. DJ Pat provided the tunes and the rain held off until all were served. June 14th, the book club met via Zoom. The new book was selected for the next book club meeting, which is August 23rd. And the book is Woman's Daughter, written by Kim Michelle Richardson. June 19th, Father's Day at the pool. Chef Eric prepared specials for the day and every dad received a free draft. June 24th, dining at the club, music by Larry Roberts. Many diners also enjoying in reciprocals this year. July 4th, 80 reservations for the barbecue, beautiful weather for the pool and celebration, and DJ Jeff playing some good tunes for all. Friday, July 8th, dining with music by Joe Sass. Weather was very bad, but a small crowd braved the weather to enjoy a nice meal and good music. Of course, in addition to those attending, we also have a curbside dining pickup for the community. Friday dining will continue through the summer and fall with music returning August 14th with music by New York Rhythm. The website has been updated to reflect all scheduled events through the end of the year. And as an aside, I did get the app on my phone and just tried using the app instead of going the old way to get to the Sterling Oaks events. And I was really pleasantly surprised. It's a really nice app and it gets you right to all the information you'd ever be looking for. So if you don't have that app, boy, get it. The knife sharpening truck is a frequent visitor in Sterling Oaks. I must be the only one left with dull knives. Must go to see them July 19th. So excited to announce some of our concert series dates. January 30th, we've got an 80s band, A Familiar Face with a New Twist. February 13th, Renegade is a favorite from last season. And March 26th, we've booked Motowners, a new group to us, but familiar sounds of the late 60s. And Motown continues to be successful and popular today. We have one more band to be scheduled, and we'll let you know the date as soon as it is booked. If you did not get season tickets last year, please consider them. It is outside with food and drinks, usually in the evening, and a big endeavor for our small community. It is a great chance to become a music critic also, LOL. Our next activities meeting is August 19th at 11 a.m. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Lynn. Any questions for Lynn?
Lynn,
Yes,
just remind me in general how we're handling signups for those concerts, since there were some complaints about people not getting in. What's our policy on signups?
well, I would be very surprised if people couldn't get in. It was outside. But anyway,
No, I mean, be able to sign up for the concert. The
Okay,
deadline.
what happens? As soon as we book the last band, there will come a time when they will notify all the renters of the season events so that everybody has a chance to book. And then Nicole, I believe, put that out like a month before. I shouldn't answer that. Maybe Mark can tell you better. I know there was plenty of time to sign up. First, they sold VIP tickets, but they're not going to do that this year. They're just going to be season packets. They go on sale first. And then whatever doesn't get sold, then they will just put out individual tickets for sale. So maybe Mark can, or Suzanne can answer that better than me when it goes on sale. I don't know. I know we sold out all the season tickets last year that we had ready.
Yeah, and my concern was I was just asking for a general idea. Is it going to be December or January or summer?
I would imagine it's not going to probably go out until January when everybody gets back in town. Or actually probably a little earlier than that, but still, we didn't turn anybody away at any time. There was plenty of opportunity for those people to get it. The change that we did learn from last year was that people wanted VIP seating, and maybe couldn't have got it. This year, there is no VIP seating. It is wide open for everybody. The only thing they're going to do is say, listen, if you want to buy the whole concert series in a package, it's going to be X. And if you're going to want to go just to single concerts, you can sign up for those when you want. I would say that I could probably ask Nicole and get back to you all, but I think we're probably not going to start anything until later on, at least towards the end of the year, before we open it up to everybody, just so that we have plenty of people, available in town and give everybody the opportunity to come. We can hold up to 150, 200 people at any given time. So there's no, I guess, we don't have to worry about it selling out for any given concert.
Well, it
So the
sounds like
answer to the
it's
initial
impossible.
question is first come, first serve.
Yeah,
It's the same as signing up for, if you're signing up for a July 4th picnic, you go
Right.
on the website and
well,
click the thing and go. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's impossible to have anyone blocked out of these events from what you just said. The only possibility might be if they want to come on that particular evening and they haven't signed up and the food arrangements were not in place. But outside of that, it would seem impossible not to have access.
Paul, another thing is we have the food trucks for them. So the food trucks, the more the merrier. I mean, they
Right.
want, so I don't see anybody being turned away. But I see what Brownie is saying is, when can you sign up? And generally, it's going to be, the tickets go on sale, I'm going to say January 1st or something like that. It's going to be something around that, just as soon as all the renters have been notified when it's going to go on sale. But I can't see anybody being blocked out.
well, maybe I'm not remembering. Lanny, you can answer. I thought in your study about tennis members that are not residents. There were some complaints about some of the residents not getting to the concerts. And do we still have a priority about guests? Can guests sign up as early as members?
There's no change in priority for the concerts. The only difficulty with the concerts was the VIP tickets, as Lindia mentioned, and those are not going to be
Oh,
sold.
okay, okay.
So there was no problem with people getting into the concerts. Now,
Okay.
we can't take 1,000, but it doesn't look like that's going to ever happen.
Okay,
And as an aside, we were very grateful to have the extra tennis members that did buy the season tickets because, as we said, we can take a lot of people for that concert. And the outside members helped us make our quota so that we can afford these bands.
great.
Okay, very good. Any other questions of Lindia? Okay, let's keep moving. We're doing very well. It looks like at this rate, we could actually adjourn before 6 o'clock. So let's go to landscaping.
The mission of the Sterling Oaks Landscaping Committee is to ensure the maintenance and enhancement of landscaping in the common areas. Our vision is that Sterling Oaks landscaping will be tropical, vibrant, diverse, and attractive. The Landscaping Committee met on June 13th and July 12th. Our 2022 plantings, a number of dead and dying plants have been removed. New plantings will be installed around the clubhouse, which is the top priority for the Landscaping Committee. Brightview proposals for new plantings for the condo and preserve areas will be reviewed at the next meeting. Maintenance issues. The Landscaping Committee is monitoring several problem areas. Brightview has added Jessica Perez as the customer service rep for Sterling Oaks. Her addition has improved responsiveness. Tree survey. You recall that when we were discussing the issue of homeowners cutting down trees or asking us to cut down trees on common property, we learned that our best, that because we have so many older trees, we really need to have an idea of how many we have, what type they are, which ones are either currently or will soon cause damage to property, etc. And we were advised to purchase ArborNote, which is a web-based, speedy, and accurate GPS-based data collection of trees in a community, forest, whatever. Their website points out that HOAs use this, for example, to look up street trees by property address, view trees from in the area, create tree care and maintenance plans, track trees related to sidewalk and hardscape damage, etc. The initial proposal that we received included all trees in the entire community, both on common property and on private property. The Landscaping Committee's responsibility is strictly for common property, so we've been asking for a price for just that. Alan has been working with the with the Architectural Standards Committee, but I understand they haven't had a quorum of their committee, so they haven't been able to decide whether they want to recommend purchasing this same program for private property trees. That would enable us to know indeed whether trees are present at the time of the survey, and then if they're illegally cut down, there would be good documentation that that had happened. I was expecting this price today or by today, and it hasn't come apparently. So there'll be no vote on that today, but I will be asking for that at the next meeting. Moving on to the clubhouse water feature. As I started talking about last year, our current water feature is not functioning properly. And despite many attempted repairs, we have a dark, dirty appearing water in the pond. If you haven't seen that, I'll send some pictures for our next meeting. We have been looking at two possibilities. One, installing a new water feature or returning the hill to strictly landscaping. The proposals that we've received so far, both come in at about $50,000, so that removing the water feature would not save us significant money. So the landscaping committee continues to recommend installing the water feature designed by Octopus Arts that I sent you earlier this year. I understand that the executive committee did not want to have a vote on that today. We do want to have the designer, Richard Lewis, come and speak to the board before that vote. So this is, again, heads up. Mark is going to be talking to Richard to see if he can revise it to reduce the cost, but that's where we're at now. The next issue is contract fulfillment, customer expectations, and satisfaction. The landscaping committee discussed the unrealistic expectations from homeowners for services. Jessica expressed to us safety concerns when homeowners want to be side by side, guiding staff in cutting their shrubbery. For example, some homeowners walk right along with the staff wanting to point, no, I want that 1 inch lower than what you have. She points out that this has been dramatically slowing down their work. Some homeowners are complaining that pruning isn't being done because they're not there when it is done. But we have documentation that the pruning actually is being done, but we're going to codify that such that Dustin will be logging in the completion of each neighborhood with an email to Mark, which will include photos of before and after. And Mark will retain this information. The landscaping committee is requesting approval for an FYI notice for homeowners regarding expectations, and we'll discuss that under new business. There was discussion about conducting a satisfaction survey. The landscaping committee does not recommend this. We know that people want more than our contractual services, and we know that they're unhappy that they don't get customized, detailed landscaping for our bulk rate fee. The Brightview contract is up for renewal in November. The landscaping committee supports Mark's plan to update our RFP and request bids from 2 to 3 additional contractors. In general, condo associations are very pleased with their new services from Brightview. All but one of the condo associations have converted to Brightview over the past year, so that there is more continuity within the community. Those members from the condos recommend that the HOA continues with Brightview for at least 1 more year so that they can maintain that continuity. The updates, I think I've mentioned some of these before, to the contract will include annual hardwood pruning, weekly mowing during leaf drop times to mulch the leaves, and twice a year leaf pickup. The landscaping committee will meet again on August 16th at 1 o'clock.
Okay, questions? Linda, do you have Brightview in your condo area?
I do, and we are in a discussion with them because we were charged, and I think maybe John Mulligan can verify his association, but Sweetwater Bay 1 was given a $50 fuel charge per month was added onto our bill, which we did not expect to get that. So we have been arguing and going back and forth with them. I don't know if John's Association got charged that $50 a month, but we are 3 buildings. Now, I think the master got charged a fuel surcharge too. And Mark can tell us the amount. It was 300, right?
Well, we got 300 and but that was for all of the common areas and all of the homes.
Yeah.
Kind of
And
odd that you
so-
got $50 for 3 buildings.
Yeah, that's what we are saying. We are saying, are you
I had
crazy?
them I had them remove that. So.
Thank you. I know, because I called you about it. I said, are you getting this charge? But here's the point. You had 400 homes and all the common areas, and you got charged the $300 a month. Our little 3 buildings got charged $50 a month. So am I happy with Brightview right now? No. But
Have gas prices fallen in Southwest Florida?
Yeah, we're
not
at,
like every place sounds.
Little
we're
bit.
at Costco's it was $3.99 last week. I think it's down to about $3.89 now
$3.89. Boy, that's great.
at Costco.
Yeah,
Oh.
they've
Good
dropped
enough.
dramatically. They've
Oh.
dropped dramatically in the Northeast from about $5 to close to $4 at this point.
Yeah, most stations here are 4 4.25, 4.35.
Higher than what?
Yeah, so it sounds like it's time to get rid of that surcharge.
Mark got rid of it already.
Good. Okay, any other questions?
And we'll talk about the FYI under new business.
Okay.
Unless we're ready to go to new business.
Old business, rules amendment, non-resident hearing procedure. This has gone on almost a year now. So let's see if we can't resolve something today. Do I have a motion to take this off the table? John Mulligan, do I have a second?
What does it mean to take it off the table?
It's
Yeah,
been
good motion.
tabled. It's been tabled, so we need to vote to place it back on the table.
All
For
right,
discussion.
I second the motion.
Okay, Chap seconds it. Cezanne, do we have a statement to kick this off?
We need to vote.
Oh, yeah. All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, well, except for Lanny. Everyone else votes in favor.
Connie,
Okay,
did you vote in favor of that to take it off? the table?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
okay. Do we have a statement, Cezanne, to kick this off?
What statement would you like me to reference?
The one that says we're going to remove that from the current rules. Statement regarding a non-resident tennis member having access to compliance.
Hold on, I'm pulling up last month's minutes.
Last month, we agreed that there would be a new statement drafted. Or 2 months ago, we agreed that there'd be a new statement drafted because there was not support for the previous statement for various different reasons, predominantly because it was going to give non-resident members more rights than homeowners. As I asked in emails over the last few weeks, to the best of my knowledge, no one has drafted a new statement. We had decided last month not to try to hassle it out at a meeting with all 9 of us, that a subcommittee was supposed to draft something. And my understanding is that still hasn't been done.
Well, we had a discussion about this in the EC meeting.
Okay.
And the consensus at that point seemed to be, since we heard from Jason, and that was one of the recommendations, that we get some advice from him. Essentially, he said that any non-resident member does not have rights under the 720 Act of Florida law, and we can treat them any way we like within the parameters of the membership contract.
Right.
So he suggested, in his words, we could ask them to leave, we could penalize them, we could do pretty much whatever we want. They have no rights under 720. They
Correct.
have certain privileges under the contract agreement. And the way it went at the EC was that we should just eliminate the language we have in there now and leave it all be at that. That seems to be the simplest, cleanest means of handling this whole thing that has gone on for almost a year now.
Well, if you eliminate what's there in our current rules, what is the process for discipline for non-resident members? Because that was developed as a whole process with a step-by-step implementation.
It would be as it would be for anyone else within the community.
But the problem is
every other member that we have. And it would be that if there's a disciplinary activity that's going on, Paul Barris would address it, number one. If it can't be handled by Paul Barris, it would be handled by the general manager. If it can't be handled at that level, it would be handled by the president of the board. If it can't be handled there, which is highly unlikely, it would come to the board for resolution.
Okay. Well, those rules don't exist. I mean, that system does not exist in our rules for homeowners or for anyone. So if that's what we want to do, I don't have a problem with that, but that has to be drafted and approved because it's not like there's something there that we can fall back on.
I don't know, we've existed for 30 years with that pattern. And I don't see that it needs to be codified. I think that's just simple understanding. That's just common sense in any organization, any HOA.
Well, that wasn't the feeling of the board when we adopted those rules several years ago. So it wasn't 30 years without it because we've had those rules for many years.
Well, unless the board has a problem with this approach, I think we should vote on this issue and just take out the statement that's in the rules that led us to this problem that we've had.
Is that?
But are you
that
taking
rule
out
number-
the entire section or just the one?
That was rule number 4, correct?
You're going
I
to
believe
leave
that
in
was-
rules
yeah.
1 through 3? I mean, I think we need to know.
Yeah,
I think
unfortunately,
everyone needs to look at what we're talking about before we vote on it.
I agree. There's nothing in the package today that shows this. So I don't know how to, I mean, my memory, I kind of remember in general, but I agree with Lanny. We need to identify exactly what we're eliminated, and it's not in the package.
Oh, God,
Correct me
we've
if I'm,
studied this for a year and we're saying we don't know what the reference is.
correct me if I'm wrong, there is, and Cezanne, I'm sure you can look it up. There is a rule under the tennis rules that permits non-resident members to have access to appeals. And that's what we're
A
eliminating.
compliance hearing.
Yes. What is that rule, Cezanne?
Can you share
Sure.
screens?
That's what I'm working on. I'm trying to pull up because I'm on the laptop. I'm trying to pull up the rules and regulations on here. Can you give me 1 minute?
Yeah,
for
whatever
that?
one that is the one we're
Yeah.
going to eventually vote, I hope, on eliminating.
Sorry, I'm just trying to log into the website. Just
I can read it and then Suzanne can put it up on the screen.
Yeah, sure.
The section, and this is it's the tennis section of the Sterling Oaks rules. So it's not a
Right.
separate tennis document. Compliance with tennis court rules and regulations and court etiquette. Number 1, any situation in conflict with the rules of etiquette listed above which cannot be resolved calmly or peaceably between members should be brought to the attention of the tennis director. The tennis director will attempt to handle the situation at the time of the occurrence. If the situation cannot be addressed and corrected immediately, the tennis director will contact the members in question at a later time to discuss the situation, and if severe enough, at his discretion, can issue a verbal or written warning. After 2 written warnings have been issued, or the occurrence of a severe one-time situation, the member will be referred to the board of directors for determination of possible suspension of their tennis membership. Number 3, when a situation involves tennis members and non-tennis staff, the matter will be investigated by the general manager and the board president. Number 4, when disciplinary action is taken by the board, tennis members may appeal the decision by requesting a review by the Sterling Oaks Compliance Committee in accordance with the procedures for a compliance hearing. Oh, there we go. So is the motion that needs to be made to just eliminate number 4?
Let's deal with that and then come back to number 2. I would recommend we strike number 4.
I agree.
What we have to understand, I think, too, is that this applies to tennis members, but it does not apply to resident owners. So
Correct.
regardless of whether you're a tennis member or a resident owner, if you're both, even if number 4 is struck, you have the rights under the declarations and under 720 to appeal to the compliance committee as an owner,
Right.
regardless if you're a tennis member or not. So this would be only truly applying to non-residents, and it's, I guess,
Up until this time, and over the course of the past several months, the issue has been whether to strike or not number 4, period. That's what the issue has been.
Yes, I think we should deal with that, then come back to number 2 and determine whether we strike that one also, unless you want to deal with both 2 and 4 together, to strike them.
Well, I think the motion that's, well, I'm getting confused with parliamentary procedure, but I would move that we strike number 4.
All right,
Well, it's actually a new motion, because your motion talked about having the motion on the table is the one to allow tennis members a hearing with the board of directors. So I think that that should be tabled again, and we never have to deal with that one again, and a new motion made to eliminate number 4.
Cezanne, read the motion that's on the table. Are you there?
I've got it from the
Sorry,
minutes.
I was muted. I can't see myself. It stated to amend the number 4 to state if disciplinary action is needed, the non-resident members will have the opportunity to a hearing to the board of directors prior to the board taking action.
Huh?
All right, that's what's on the table now.
Correct.
I'll bring it up so everybody can see it.
Yeah,
Oh, this is so good that we're on Zoom.
This one right here.
Okay, so the motion on the table is to strike this.
No, it's to replace 4 with this. The motion is to amend number 4 to read that.
So you took this motion off the table.
Jesus.
And we've put it back on.
Well,
All right,
What
my
more-
recommendation is to move this along would be to, I would recommend we vote this down and then create a new motion to strike 4 completely.
I agree.
I agree. This
Can we
is getting
just-
ridiculous.
Can we just delete the fact in the minutes that we took it off the table?
No, let's deal with the motion.
We
and-
need to vote, we need to vote it down.
Yeah, we need to vote on the motion. So unless
We
there's
need to-
further discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor of this motion,
Mark, can I ask a question first?
go ahead.
Who decision to penalize them?
Hold
It all
on.
depends on the infraction, and it would start with Paul Barris.
Okay, but in other words,
In other words, we're going to simplify this. Paul Barris is going to deal with disciplinary problems with tennis players, as he should as director of tennis. If
right,
it's so egregious that he can't handle it, Mark will step in and deal with the issue. I can't imagine that happens to a great degree, but it could. If it goes beyond Mark, then the president will check in and review this whole situation. If it can't be handled by the president, the director of tennis, and the general manager, I can't imagine what that might be. It would be referred to the board because it's a bad.
so you're saying that all that little procedure you just said will be in number 2.
It's just understood that that's the way the
But-
procedure will take
But
place.
shouldn't it be stated, should it be not just understood? Shouldn't it be stated? And then I would feel comfortable voting to take number 4 off, or this off the table that's there right now, and eliminating number 4, if you had that procedure outlined in writing in number 2.
But it's
I-
right here.
I agree with Linda.
That's fine with me. If the board wants to do that, that's fine with me. I think it's obvious and stated in every HOA that exists in Florida, but if you want to do that as number 2, that's fine with me. Let's deal now with the motion at hand. My recommendation is to reject the motion so we could deal with item number 4 separately. Then we'll come back to number 2.
Right, that's correct.
All right, so you
Okay.
guys are voting on the motion made by Charles Calucci to do this.
Correct.
If you agree with it, then it's going to stay. If you vote no, it will go away in order to replace it with a new motion to clarify the rest of this procedure.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All of those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. It's apparent to me from what I can see on the screen that there is no one in favor, so the motion dies. Now I need a motion that would strike number 4.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Strike
John
number 4.
Mulligan makes the motion, seconded by whom? By chat. Okay, all in favor of the motion to strike number 4 from the rules, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I don't have everyone on screen, so Cezanne, read off.
The people I'm not seeing, I'm just trying to do a count. Lindia, I'm not seeing an aye. Lanny, I'm not seeing an aye.
Correct.
Lindia, are you in favor of striking 4?
Not until I know what 2 is.
Okay, so you have 2 opposed at this time.
Okay, Motion carries. So we strike number 4. Now let's look at number 2. After written warnings have been issued or the reoccurrence of a severe one-time situation, the member would be referred to the board of directors for determination of possible suspension. That I think is foolish, superfluous, doesn't need to happen. It should be dealt with the director, the general manager, the president, and the board in that pattern, as any other disciplinary action within an HOA would be addressed. So I need a motion to strike number 2.
You want to?
Well, it's silly. I mean, I move that we strike number 2. And basically what we need to do is add additional wording to number 1, which codifies, Paul, the chain of authority: tennis director, general manager, board president. That's the chain of authority.
That's fine with me.
I agree.
Well, what's that going to say before we vote on it? We need a clear motion.
Number
Well,
1.
I mean, the motion is to strike number 2,
Right.
period.
And without adding something to number 1?
And then we'll make another motion.
Yeah, we start with a new motion.
I think Lindy and I both prefer that we hear the new motion, and then we consider agreeing to striking number 2, but without knowing that we agree with number 1, it's hard to agree to get rid of number 2.
Well, Chap just went through that. Why don't you mention it
Ridiculous.
again, Chap?
We need wording. We need to continue wording on number 1, which codifies the chain of authority. Starts with the tennis director, moves to the general manager, winds up with the president.
And ultimately the board if necessary.
And ultimately the board if necessary. That's
Good wording. That's good.
All right, so
I
let's
so somebody word that, but that's what I mean.
okay, let's eliminate number 2 first. Who makes the motion to strike 2?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, John Mulligan, seconded by Chap. All in favor of striking item 2, indicate by raising your hand saying aye.
Aye.
Cezanne, read the vote.
I'm clicking through. I believe the only 2 that did not approve striking number 2 was Laney and Lindia.
Is that correct?
Yes, because I don't know.
Okay,
if the
I'm
word
not
was-
sure. I'm not sure whose iPad is on like a table, so I don't know who that is.
That's Ken Smallman.
That Ken. Okay. I believe I saw his hand up before he approved that motion on striking number 2. Correct, Ken? Okay. He said, yeah, I saw his. Okay, I got it. So striking number 2 has been approved.
Okay. And then Chap, would you create a motion to amend number 1?
Hold on. I'm going to call it the chain of command. I need a better word than that. The
Hierarchy of disciplinary action.
The hierarchy of disciplinary action commences with the tennis director, moves up to the general manager, moves up to the board president, and if necessary, to the board as a whole.
Good. Need a second.
I second.
Lindia seconds it. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have a question. Does that mean that Paul Barris alone can suspend a member? Or any tennis director can suspend a member without any other consultation?
Well,
Yeah.
they could, well, be careful. We still have the 720. They cannot suspend an owner.
Well, but he could he could authorize a suspension. The owner could then appeal it.
No,
But-
he couldn't even authorize it. It has to go to the board. 720 still would dominate.
720 says a tennis membership suspension has to go to the board. I don't think so.
720 to do any suspension
Oh, okay.
for
Gotcha.
a
Right.
resident has to go to the
Okay.
board.
Okay.
It only
We're not
applies to
talking, we're
non-residents.
not talking residential suspension here. We're talking suspension of a membership. And that is not protected by 720. So Paul, yes, Paul Barris could suspend someone if it's so grievous that, let's say he strikes somebody. It's been done in the past. And a fight breaks out on the lawn and between two tennis members. And yes, you can do that. And yes, there is no compliance hearing, but it does not apply to suspension of a resident. This is membership privilege, not resident rights.
Yeah,
Does
I think that if you can, at least from all my past history in the club business,
Yeah, be
most of the
careful.
time when there's something that's egregious of this nature, even if it's a resident to the point where you need some time, you can always suspend pending investigation. So I would say that at any point in time that Paul needs to get somebody off the courts and it's a non-resident, he can say, listen, we're going to suspend you pending investigation. I would imagine that any point in time, he would contact me. I imagine that he would contact the board liaison to let them know. And I think that the president would be involved just from a communication and transparency standpoint anyways. You know, we're not talking about one a week, one a month. We're not even hardly talking about one a year. These are rare occurrences. And I think that if they are egregious enough, you know, the tennis director should be able to say, hey, you know what, we need you to take a break while we check this out, and we'll get back to you and find out what we want to do. I'm sure he would take it up the chain at that point in time and to be discussed.
I think the motion is pretty clear, and I think we're getting bogged down here. And we've been bogged down on this for a year now. So I would appeal to you to resolve this issue. Let's vote on the motion.
Well, let me say one more time. As a resident and a tennis member, I do not agree that Paul Barris alone should suspend a homeowner, whether tennis member or not. Having been through that personally, when it happened, the suspension, it included suspension of all the other things too. So I think we got to be
But
careful.
we're not
there.
talking about that, Brownie. We're
We're not talking about residents,
suspension.
this is only non-resident members, not resident members, non-resident tennis members.
And
But
I
then
think
that
we've
needs
got
to
the
be
issues
clarified.
mixed
Yeah,
up.
okay, it's under, okay.
We're
That-
That
talking,
needs to be clarified in the motion. So I think that Chap should amend his motion to make it clear that this is
Yeah.
talking about non-resident members only.
It is clear to everybody but you, Lonnie. So I think let's go on with the motion. This is getting ridiculous. As Paul said, a year now. This is crazy.
It's
Well,
not
it
clear.
hasn't been a year.
It
It's-
isn't clear. It isn't clear, John. It
All
should
you need to
be
do,
res-
all you need to do to make it crystal clear. Right now, it says compliance with tennis course rules and regulations and court etiquette. The following items, or whatever you want to call them, apply to non-resident tennis players. That clarifies it.
But number one applies to resident members also.
Where does it say that?
Well, I mean, when it was written, it applied to everyone. So if you're
Okay,
going to
well,
change it,
now all of these apply. If you listen to me, if you add a sentence after the word etiquette, adequate, etiquette, the following rules apply to non-resident tennis members only.
but does that mean that Paul cannot issue verbal or written warnings to
Oh my God,
resident
guys.
tennis members?
All right, I'm gonna call for the motion.
Yes, please.
And
This is
We're
ridiculous.
we're gonna sort this out, and essentially, Paul Barris is going to do his duty as director of tennis and discipline members as are appropriate. I don't think we need to get into how he's going to discipline. This is not a matter of determining how. It's a matter of doing his duty, as well as Mark, the president, and the board, simply doing our duty. So I'm going to call for the motion.
The way it was initially, without Chap's latest edition.
Yes, the original one. And Cezanne, read that, please.
Am I unmuted? I can't see myself. I don't know.
No, you're not. You're okay now.
Okay, I will work with Chap on the complete text because I couldn't type it as fast as he was stating it. But right now I just have section 1 copied. And after that, sorry, I'm trying to find where it ends. I had added, if needed, the conflict with the rules would go up the chain of command as needed to follow the general manager, board president, then the board of directors.
Right. That's as simple as it needs to be.
Okay.
And call it the hierarchy of discipline.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not the chain of command, hierarchy of discipline.
Yes, that's clear. It's simple. Let's leave it at that and not bog this down any further. So we've heard the motion. Let's take the vote. All in favor of this motion signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
If you could leave your hand up for me, please.
Aye.
Aye. Ken swollen, you can't see yourself. Ken,
Okay, so as of now, I have Lainey and Brownie and Ken, I don't know.
Nay for me.
I don't know what happened to Ken.
Well,
I can leave Ken out, but other than that, the motion passes.
well, I voted against, you haven't asked for a vote. I vote against it.
I have that.
And I assume Lanny, okay.
Okay, good. And let's figure out what happened to Ken Swallen. I mean, has he left the meeting?
No, he's here. I just don't know what is going on with his iPad.
Are we done with the Word document?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you
Well,
see
hope
Ken
so.
Swallen?
Ken's on the table plant there.
I hope he's okay.
There
he
he
is.
is.
Okay,
Did
Ken,
you
you're
can you
muted,
unmute
so-
yourself?
see how Ken voted?
Ken, you're muted. Unmute yourself, Ken.
You're muted, Ken.
Okay.
There you go.
Are you in favor?
Are you in
Yes.
favor of the motion?
Okay.
okay. Motion carries. Let's take a deep breath. Finally gotten rid of this issue. Okay, let's carry on. Pool resurfacing. Mark.
All right. Let me just start with the pool resurfacing. The original discussion of the pool resurfacing came because there are several tiles around the edge of the pool surface that are cracked and falling off. There are several areas on the bottom of the pool that are suspect, and that there are on the bottom of the pool, there are little round vents, and there's several of them. Some of those are damaged. We've tried to repair them and replace them, but you know, they are old and needing repair. We have some areas around the lights that are needing repair as well. So that prompted the pool resurfacing, plus that it is in the reserve study at 10 years for it to be done. Now, at the time that occurred, I went out to several pool companies to ask them about just pool resurfacing. And the questions came up about, well, do you want to do anything else to the pool while you're there? One of the things that was talked about was, could we have a zero entrance pool? One of those ones where you walk in and it gets like 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, all the way down to, a certain area. Those are, walk-in pools. The thing about those is that you have to have 1 inch per 20 grade. So in order to get down a foot, you need a pool length that would take it all the way back to the cabana or to the front, to the gates. And you would not be able to have any seating area, which is the prime thing that we worry about at the pool. So we asked, well, could we do something with the existing pool? And they said, yes, we could take the pool back about 2 or 3 feet, but then you would lose about a third of your pool in order to accommodate the zero entrance pool. And we said, look, that's probably not good either. So we kind of kiboshed that whole project. The next question that came up was, could we put a shelf in, or get rid of the island and put in a swim shelf? According to the state and the county, the permitting for those types of actions in the pool require ADA requirements, which significantly change the scope of resurfacing the pool because of access, signage, availability in those areas. If we were going to take the island out and lower it down to where you could swim up to the island and maybe sit on it. That was a discussionary point, because some of the people thought that it'd be nice to have at least something to hang on to, or place the kids for the swim up to, or something like that. But that can't be done evidently without an enormous amount of ADA, because they said, well, if you can't swim and you want to get on the island, you have to have access. So there has to be stairs on the island under the water. Et cetera, et cetera. So that went out. The next question was, can we take out the island altogether? And the answer was, yes, we can take out the island altogether. We do not need a permit. We can remove the island and leave everything it is, resurface the pool, and we'll give you a quote for that. I said, okay. The question came up about whether or not we should keep the island regardless, resurface the pool as it is, leave everything as it is, and just go on about our business. I guess the only thing that we deal with that maybe you don't deal with is a constant complaining about the pool island and its trees, its plants, its demeanor, whatnot. Historically, and this is before my time, the original pool, if any of you remember, had the island, but it was a planter. It actually had dirt in the middle of it with trees growing out of it. The trees cracked, the roots cracked the actual island walls, and that's part of the reason why the pool had to be resurfaced back then. Because actually we used to have ficus trees along the tennis courts, and those roots came through the wall as well. So all of that has been removed, and now we're left with the pots that you see today with the dead flowers from time to time, and the consistent problems that we have and complaints. However, there are people who like to hang on to the edge of the island. There are children who like to swim from the steps to the island. The only problem that I get is I get constant complaints about sight line. I can't see who's on the other side. My kid swam around, I can't see it. Why do you have to have the pots there with dead flowers in it? That's why we kind of went to the point where let's just redo the whole thing, get rid of the island completely. Yes, it is a major change to the current thing, but however, any new homeowner coming into the pool will have more places for people to swim and play in. And they will never know about the old island that used to be there, and whether or not that's something that you want to deal with now or in the future is up to you. So, Linda, have I covered your concern?
Yeah, and to be clear, I do not want to hold up the resurfacing of the pool. I know it needs it desperately, and I'm all in favor of supporting that pool. My concern basically was the children. We don't have a pool for them. And I know that it's a safe area for them to play. I do agree with Mark. The sight line is not good. When I'm up there with my great grandchildren, I like to walk around and make sure, and I tell them not to go around the island. But for years, that's where the children swim. That's basically where they are, the little ones. So, I mean, I know that the water aerobics use them, and I know a lot of people like the looks of an island in there. Maybe not the dead plants, but I just think we have to go into this knowing what we are losing when we take out the island, and then be able to justify it to people who want to know why did you take out the island? And I don't think the answer should be because we had dead plants. I think
John Lee Hoke.
Yeah, I talked to my wife who uses the pool for water aerobics 3 or 4 times a week when we're down there. And she verified that the wall is used for the women while they're doing their exercises because there's not enough room on the sides of the pool. And if you got rid of that, that would cause a problem for the people doing the water aerobics. So I was asked about that and I got the answer. And so that's another thing I think we ought to consider. You're gonna, when the season is on and there's 40 or 50 girls or ladies down there doing their exercises, there's not enough room for them to hold on to the sides. So that's when the island becomes an issue for them.
Lanny.
I also support maintaining the island. I'd be interested to know how much extra it's going to cost to remove it. But I think that the use that currently is there is worth supporting. And I recommend that you appoint a project team to recommend some type of sculpture or art or something that could go in the island instead of plants that would resolve the issue of dead or poor looking plants.
Let's go to John Mulligan and then Ken Swallen.
Yeah, I guess same question that Lonnie just raised is, yeah, how much is this costing us to do that? And then my second question is, by not doing it, are we putting anything else in jeopardy? By keeping it in, is that going to hurt anything else in the pool? Is it going to create more cracks or whatever? I don't know. I'm just, so if there's no good reason
that it
to
would
take it
not.
out.
My guess is that it would not, but we could look at engineering and see what they have to say, unless Mark, you already have that answer.
My feeling is that at the time, if we want to leave the island in, it would be in our best interest to completely gut the interior of that space because it is not usable. There's no way to get water any longer from the to that island from an irrigation standpoint or fountains, because of the piping that's underneath the ground has been shifted. The pool has either sunk or leveled out, and those pipes are crushed. And to redo that is, you're talking about an enormous amount of more money. So I would ask that if we are going to do this, we take everything off of that island, take the pots out, take everything, clean it up, and maybe make it, as Lanny said, a spot to where we could, if you wanted to, you could erect some kind of sculpture, stainless steel structure, some kind of something or other, and maybe make it for the time being just a smooth topped situation that could be, everybody can hang on to or do whatever, but we just kind of make it look a little more presentable without all the stuff on it. And then if you want to add something down the road to spruce it up from a sculpture or art situation, that would be fine. You know, maybe it just is something else that would be out there rather than the pots with the dead plants in it that the cormies have to water every day. So
Ken Swallen, let's hear from you.
Okay, I have to agree with the children that is an area that all the young people use to congregate and swim back and forth. I also know that the ladies in aerobics, my wife, one of them, that hang on that wall for their aerobics in the morning. The question I've got is, you know, are we putting the wrong type of plants in there? You know, there's a lot of plants that are desert type plants that don't need water. You know, I don't know, you know, if those could be put into pots and made it, you know, look like something until we can decide whether we want a sculpture out there or something. I mean, you know, as far as taking, you know, gutting it, Mark, it's pretty well gutted now. You know, you just got to take all the dirt out of it.
well, there's dirt, irrigation, there's electrical and everything else down in there that's all not a part of it. And I can tell you that there's been probably at least 15 to 20 or 30 different varieties of plants being tried in that thing over the past 6 or 7 or 8 years that I know of, and all of them receive poor marks for one reason or another, simply because of the seasons that we're in. When it goes into the winter time, it goes one way. If it's the summer, it's the other. Honestly,
Okay. Let's focus on whether or not we keep the island, rather than if we do, how do we maintain it? Let's focus on whether or not we keep it. I want to hear from Chap, and then I want to hear from Chap. Go ahead.
I think it's pretty clear that we all want to keep the island.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is we approve the Rockstar Pools quote and include in that quote, instead of removing the island, I think we should just gut it and decide what to do with it later.
it'll save you probably about 6,000 or 8,000 overall on the quote to not gut it. I mean, to not demolish it.
Good.
Okay,
That's
Chap,
what I think.
is that a motion?
Yes.
Cezanne, do you have it? You want to read it back to us?
You're approving the contract with Rockstar Pools, but excluding the removal of the island.
Okay, everyone clear?
I
Okay.
don't think the cost for removing the island is broken out here, is it? So we don't know what the cost would be without removing the island.
It would be less.
As I said, it's going to be about $7,000 or $8,000 less, John. I'll see if I can get that lower down, but I know that that's what they talked about it. All the other people, the other quotes, as you read in those other quotes, were all anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000.
Okay, all right.
So it'll definitely be a savings.
I'm sorry, I don't know who seconded the motion.
I'm not sure we have a second.
Okay.
Wallen seconded the motion.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If Mark thinks that more should be done, like if some more should be done to it, not just not taken out, but should it be cleaned out? Should it be resurfaced the top? I mean, is there something that should be done for it to look better? I think it needs new tiles and.
Well, again, I think we're getting bogged down on maintenance of this island. I think the issue on hand currently is whether we keep it or not, and that's the motion on the table. Let's
Okay.
figure out the maintenance later.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I missed part of that, okay.
Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand or saying aye or both.
All right.
Aye.
Okay, looks like it's unanimous, Cezanne, is that correct?
You're muted. You're muted.
I have that the Contract with Rockstar Pools was approved, excluding the removal of the island.
Okay,
While that is all down, it is going to be a 30-day process. I'm going to try to get them started in late August because they have to order all of the supplies and tile. This will mean that because it's a construction zone, that the pool area, to include the cabana and the spa, will not be available for use by the owners during this construction period. I can't have people walking around the edge of a pool with nothing in it. I can't have them out there with the workers trying to cart stuff in and out of it. We are going to move our operations upstairs into the upstairs dining room bar and onto the veranda. So this is the slowest time of the year, but it is imperative that I have the support that says, oh, well, you could keep the spa going, couldn't you? No, because it's all tied into the same water system. So no, I can't. Two is the spa is not going to be done because it is in great shape. Everybody that's examined it, there's no problems when they tile the surface, any of the drains, any of the jets, all that is in great shape. So that's not going to be touched. So just FYI that's going to be something that we have to have closed down during that time. It's going to be difficult for some individuals because they utilize the pool area. A Wildcat pool is not going to be available, to my understanding, to the general population simply because they don't pay for Wildcat pool. Wildcat does. We have reciprocals. Everybody can go to the dunes, to the beach. Well, not right now at the beach, but to other places to be able to utilize those areas if they can during this point in time. So just FYI, I will take everything off of that island while it's down, simply to make sure that they can work on it. So all the pots, all the plants, everything else will get moved off and set into the pool area. We can take a look at what's inside there. Alan can do some remedial work, and then we will look at what we can do to put it all back together again, and hopefully make it look appealing.
okay, Lanny.
John, would Wildcat consider allowing other residents to pay for daily use at the pool? For example, if families already have arrangements for young children to be coming and we're hoping to be able to swim within walking distance, would that be something that Wildcat would consider?
I really don't know. I mean, this has never come up before. I think that would be a can of worms, to be honest with you. And I don't know how many people are down there during the month of August when the big pool would be closed. But the Wildcat pool, number-wise, if there was any, increase in the number of people, it could cause that them not to be able to use their own pool. So I would try to discourage that approach, Lanny.
Well, in the past, when the pool was resurfaced, Wildcat was available to other homeowners.
No, it wasn't.
I know when I've been living here, it has been. Maybe it was before you, but I know that there were other times that it was available, and I didn't hear about any problems.
Well, at any rate, we've heard from John, and he's an excellent representative of his community. So I think we have a sense of what that would create. We could see how things go down the road and maybe broach this in the future.
I recommend that we inform homeowners as soon as possible about this pool closure so that they're aware.
It'll go out in the FYI.
Thank you.
Yeah,
John,
they're pretty good about informing the community about things of this nature. Just let's keep in mind, Mark is asking for support from this board as we move along because it could very well be a firestorm. John Mulligan.
Yeah, in that FYI, Mark, make sure you do let people know that the reciprocals so they can use them. So you sort of lessen the blow a little bit.
Good
'Cause I
point.
can imagine if I was going down my family and I couldn't use pool, I wouldn't be happy. I understand, but got to give them some other options.
Got it.
Well, Mark,
Let's
And the
hear from
question-
chat and then we'll go to Browning.
We got one statement and then a couple of small questions. The statement is really directed to Mark. Mark, you got to do your best here. We cannot allow it to be tragic if this thing dragged out into October and November. It seems like everything we do winds up getting dragged out, but this one, you got to do everything in your power to make sure it's done quick.
Amen.
The questions are, how old is the pool?
As far as I know, it's been there since the beginning, right?
Has there ever been a major resurfacing done?
Yes, and I just found a note that we sent out in July of 2012 where the pool was resurfaced.
10 years. So
Yeah,
it's been 10 years.
yeah. And we also noted in that reference to use the reciprocals, there was no note of Wildcat Cove use. During that time,
All right.
we never did
The
that.
last question is, out of curiosity, how much money do we have in reserves that we can devote to this?
About 50,000.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Lindia, and then, I'm sorry, Brownie, and then Lindy.
I was already, okay.
Brownie, go ahead.
Okay, Mark, is there any particular, the reciprocals are nice, but a lot of people don't understand them. Are there any special relationships you have with general managers where we could highlight, here's two specific pools that we kind of give them a heads up and get them to agree this would be okay?
The one that we use the most is the dunes for people wanting pool.
You might put that in when you put out the notice, give them some specific suggestions, but because people coming down, particularly that don't live here, they don't necessarily know which ones, even though it's all on there. There's so many of them, you don't know. There's some of them that probably we never use. So
We had 4 people at the pool yesterday. I think we're gonna have 6 today. And in August and September, when the kids go back to school, we start to. You're down at less than 10 a day most of the time. So it isn't that we're gonna be too crazy, but we will work on making sure that everybody knows as much as they can.
Yeah, okay.
Lindia.
Yeah, I just wonder if, and I suppose there aren't too many rentals in August, but if there are rentals and they've signed a lease and they're planning to come and they've paid their transfer fee for use of amenities, should they be told the pool is going to be closed?
I suppose. I don't think there's any, I doubt if there's anybody coming in August for August and September, but I'll check with Laura.
Just,
This is just something that occurs. It doesn't matter what community you would rent in. The golf courses are closed. There's places under construction right now. There's a lot of amenity reconstruction going on across Southwest Florida and a lot of the HOAs. So it's, but we will.
I think as long as we broadcast to the community, we'll be fine. And we treat that as suggested by the rest of the board, I think we'll be okay. Renters included. Lanny.
Just question mark, can renters use reciprocals?
If they're fully transferred, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, can we move along? Let's cover new business. Lanny.
Yes, so you can go back to in your packet, the proposal from the landscaping committee regarding an FYI. This is in response to homeowner complaints and Brightview complaints. The document or the FYI that is proposed would state, reminder, our bulk contract covers only limited landscaping services. In addition to mow, blow, and edge, trimming is scheduled for 10 times a year, parentheses, every 5 to 6 weeks. The monthly plan is posted on the Brightview portal. Only, quote, standard trimming is covered. If you have special requests, they must be submitted via the Brightview portal and may require extra charges. The best way to request do not trim is to place plastic ribbons on plants. Don't forget to remove them when you do want the plants trimmed. Those who want concierge services like hand pulling weeds or sculptured shrubs should consider contracting for those services with Brightview or another landscaper. For safety reasons, do not try to guide Brightview staff when they are working. Bothering staff also causes delays. Speak with a supervisor if you have a question or concern. Providing food or tips for extra services is not permitted. For more details, you can request a copy of the landscaping contract from the office. The board will be reviewing proposals for a new 3-year contract in the fall.
Okay,
Any questions or discussion?
Are you proposing to send that out? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I want, because I wanted board approval for this to be put in the FYI news. I didn't want to do it just on landscaping committee authorization.
Well, one comment I would make, although I haven't had a personal incident, I've never seen a supervisor. And if I saw a man, one of the landscapers, maybe doing a shrub that you've set up not to be sculptured or something, I don't think we want to tell the people they can't tell them not to do that. And very honest, I've never seen a supervisor. Several times I tried to find one. I've never found a supervisor.
If you want to find a supervisor, just indicate on the portal that you want to talk with one.
I'm talking about when he's cutting. It's like right now. It's not like
Right.
next
Yeah.
week. Okay.
Okay, I know, but because the schedule's there, if you know you want to talk with someone, you can plan for that. There is a supervisor with all the crews. I see them all the time, but I know who the supervisors are because of working with them. But there is a supervisor out with all the trimming crews, not the mowing crews, but the trimming crews. And this is where the complaints are coming.
Well, I just think it's a little extreme not to tell them if they're cutting something you don't want cut, you got to go hunt down a supervisor, which is probably impossible. That's a little
Right.
extreme.
Well,
let's go to John Mihok.
Yeah, I'll take the other side of that. If you're not there when they're doing it, sometimes it doesn't get done the way you would like it to get done. So if you're not there, you may not be satisfied with the work that they did do based on what they think they should do.
Yeah, let's keep
Talking
in
to
mind,
them,
this is a bulk
telling the people
service.
don't talk to them might be a problem.
Okay, someone else
but-
had their hand up. Chap.
Lonnie, I give these guys a can of water every time I see them. I'm wondering why we find it necessary to tell people that providing food or tips isn't permitted.
There have been examples of problems where staff have been have not been doing their work because they've been eating lunch in homeowners' garages, and those homeowners expect personalized services because they're giving them lunch. I personally don't consider water to be food, so I have no problem with you giving them water, but you're not doing it to get them to give you customized services. But that was a specific example that was brought up that it was, yeah.
Well,
That,
this is a small thing. I'm not going on a spear either way.
yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Getting back to the responding to John's request, the point is that what we pay for is not to have landscaping done in the style and taste of what homeowners want. That would cost a lot more. And if homeowners want customized services, then they need to pay more. But our current contract does not cover customized landscaping. It covers standard pruning based on directions from the supervisors to the staff. And there's, initially there were a handful of homeowners who would go out and try to direct staff. Mark indicated to us he thinks currently there might be 60 to 80 homeowners who go out and tail the staff and try to get them to do exactly what they want. And that is becoming a problem, and it'll be a problem with any landscaping company that we have. So the landscaping committee recommended that we, provide guidance to homeowners and make clear that they're expecting more than what they're currently paying for. And certainly, Bronnie, that doesn't mean that if you meant to put a ribbon on something and you didn't and you don't want to prune, that you can go say no. That's clearly something quick and minor, but some homeowners are spending a half hour with staff going to every plant saying, I want it at this number of inches, and that has to stop, because that then doesn't give them time to give everyone what they're supposed to do.
Okay, let's remember, this is a bulk service. It's not a customized personal service, number one. Number two, let's bring this back to the motion at hand. Maybe it's not a motion, but Lanny would like approval from this board to let this circulate. I'd like to hear from Mark about his impression of letting this fly, because he's the point man usually on landscaping issues, comes back to him. But before Mark talks, I want to hear from John Mulligan.
Question I have is, the management from Brightview, are they on board with this? Are they?
Yes. They brought up a number of these issues, and they have seen this exact text and expressed appreciation for conveying what they felt needed to be conveyed to homeowners.
Okay. All right.
I think it's a good idea, Lanny. You need to be crystal clear that this is a bulk service. And if you want something beyond that, that's customized, you got to pay for it. That's important.
Okay, Mark, any reason why we should not let this fly? You're on mute.
You're muted. You're muted. You're muted, Mark.
Apparently he knows that.
Oh, okay.
And he's enjoying the pantomime.
So, that's right. I'm doing my miming. The only thing that I think that probably is on this is from single family home landscaping is that I'll probably just reword it a bit, is that the bulk service contract that we have with Brightview is the same, similar to your bulk service contract for internet and cable.
Okay.
Additional services for internet and cable, such as HBO or other services, cost more. The same is with Brightview. If you want concierge service and go on with the rest of it here, I think that's the only thing, is that we just need to get the homeowners to understand that we're trying to find them a landscaping company that'll mow, blow, and go and take care of the basics of landscaping for the community as a whole. and we do it at the most reasonable amount for the product that we can get. So that I think that's where, a lot of people say, geez, I'm paying 89, I'm paying 100, 102, $104 a month. But, in that, if you had to go out to any company to ask them to do what they do, including the palm tree trimming and everything else, there's that monthly cost would be much higher on an overall basis. I think that's why we just have to remind everybody. But I agree with this, and Brightview does too. They're getting heat for not being able to maintain the integrity of their schedules, simply because they're getting bogged down. That's not the only reason. I mean, Brightview has got problems with staffing, just like everybody in the United States. We are having a lot of issues with that as well. So their problems are the same as ours to some degree. But I agree with Laney. I think we'll just probably reword this just a little bit to add that it's kind of like your bulk service contract for cable and internet.
Okay, so if there are no objections.
I'll send you some edits, Mark.
There are no objections from the board. We'll go ahead and let this fly. But I would want to remind you also that although this is a bulk service, it's a big chunk of our budget. And there have been concerns about Brightview and whether or not they're fulfilling their contract. So aside from customized services, we should be monitoring whether or not they are in fact fulfilling the contract. Now, they may have problems with personnel and supplies and those kinds of things, but essentially that's their problem. Our problem is to make sure they're fulfilling all aspects of the contract. And my understanding is they may have fallen short on some of these issues. So I think we need to be on top of that. That's our responsibility to make sure that they're fulfilling their promises to us. So that said, let's follow up with them, number one, and number two, let's make sure they're keenly aware that we're looking at 3 other bids as we go down the road. And they really need to improve on their contractual obligations. Lanny.
Oh, I just want to remind you, we discussed as a key part of resolving this is they are going to be documenting before and after dates and photos of all the pruning, and send that to Mark, and Mark's going to keep that. So
yes. All of that is good. I just want to make sure the board knows that there was problems involved prior to the point where they made those agreements, and that they should be aware that everything is not hunky-dory completely with this outfit.
But our research indicates that the problems were primarily homeowner perceptions. Homeowners, when they were away from home on vacations or trips or whatever, had pruning that they weren't aware of, and had accused Brightview of not doing it, but it was done. Just the homeowners weren't there.
Well, I don't want to get into the weeds on this to be funny.
Okay, but I just want to point out we don't have evidence to support the kinds of complaints that we've gotten. That yes, sometimes instead of 5 weeks, it's been 6, but it's not. It hasn't been 3 months without pruning. That's not accurate.
Okay, I don't want this to descend into an argument or a problem, but I'm simply stating our relationship with them has not been stellar. But apparently it's coming along, and I appreciate that. I'm sure the rest of the community appreciates that. But they also should know that we're looking at other outfits here, and this whole thing will go out for requests for proposals rather.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
anything
they know
else? So the board is giving you a consensus that indicates you should circulate this memo to the community. Anything else under old business? If not, new business. If not,
Do you want to do a vote on it just so it's clear in the minutes?
no,
Okay,
I think it's, we've had no
Okay.
arguments on this, so I think this is kind of minor and menial. So let's move ahead with that. Let's set the date for the next board meeting. Got August 18th. Let's look at that. August 18th.
I'm out of town, August 18th through the 27th.
Okay, so
Just
let's
FYI.
look at through the 27th, huh?
Do we have anything that's screaming in August that needs to be done?
How about if we do the 31st?
Wednesday?
31st at 1 o'clock.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so let's set the date, 1 o'clock on the 31st of August.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Don't jump at it. We can stay here all day.
May I please have a second?
I second.
Very good. All in favor, say aye.
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 Right.
Thank you all. We
Thank you.
moved through some stuff